air.
Mm. I love that response. You should.
I would just say,
Yeah, it's not a bad. It's not a bad response, right? Like we don't know if we're on air, we're not on air. It's just crazy.
We're flying by the seat of our pants again.
Again, like we just don't do enough of these to really get where we are.
Well, we did have to take a break for a while due to the fact that we had to build this studio.
Yeah, it's been a work in progress, right? But
It's still a work in progress.
but it works. It's nice. It's a very nice place to come shoot videos.
I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I think there's a few things we need to be a little more
It's
proficient.
nice just to walk in and flip a switch and have the lighting.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on? How's the real estate business?
Well, it has changed drastically, I would say, from fall of last year to right now.
Fall of last year. So we're talking the change
September, October-ish.
to now. What's changed?
There's a little bit more inventory. The interest rates have come down a little bit. People are not so afraid to go out and look anymore.
Yeah, I think, well, like we've always said, you go back and look at some of our old videos, and we're pretty consistent with the message that the real estate industry in Las Vegas and most of the country, but specifically Vegas, because that's what we know, right, gets pretty hot around Valentine's Day. Like Valentine's Day kind of kicks off that, oh, look, it's going to be spring, or it is spring, whether we've hit our second winter or our third winter yet. It just seems like it's super cold, and then it warms up like it's spring, and the trees start to sprout, and then all of a sudden we get that freezing cold weather again.
Well, I mean, this week is a prime example. I mean, it was 77 yesterday, and it's dropping to the 50s.
Yeah, because I want to go play golf this weekend, so yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's kicked off, right? The what we call the buying season has kicked off in Vegas. People are thinking about moving while kids are out of school, and thinking about moving as, a lot of people get into the summertime and they want to take a break and stuff. I was actually looking at our company calendar today, and I looked at it, and I can see everybody who's off and when they're off and stuff, and I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of people off here in the next few weeks. And so I went back to see if that's like the norm, and it's not. Like it's nobody's off work, and then all of a sudden, bam, everyone's taking time off. So yeah, I think the housing market's getting hot again.
I think the housing market's getting hot, and Las Vegas is just nonstop growing. I mean, I know that you have heard and seen some news pieces and social media pieces about the different things that are supposedly, I don't know if I should use the word supposedly, supposed to be built here.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, they talk about a lot of things. I seen some crazy thing the other day where they said they're going to build a lagoon, like a $2.5 billion lagoon down on the Strip. Now, originally, the Wynn, they were talking about turning that back golf course area kind of into a lake, pool, lagoon scenario, but this was actually on the other side of the freeway, across more over towards like where the Rio and the Palms are.
Oh.
And so I didn't have time to really read very deep into it, but based on the pictures they were showing, I don't know. I don't think so. But what we do know, high-speed train.
Well, also Hollywood 2.0.
Hollywood 2.0, which is in a very nice part of town.
Flamingo and Town Center.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just right to the outside of Summerlin. It actually could still be considered maybe part of Summerlin.
I think so, yeah.
It is just on the other side of the 215 there, where Summerlin kind of ends. But yeah, it's going to be nice, right?
I also had saw a story about possibly a high-tech quadrant being built in the Southwest on the south side of 160.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've
Like
seen a couple of videos of kind of like what's in Northern California.
Oh, okay. So they're trying to pull some of the tech companies into the valley. We do see big companies move here quite a bit because it's pretty tax-friendly state, and so they can.
Amazon's moved a lot here.
Yeah, there's Amazon warehouses everywhere and Amazon trucks everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how it is. But the high-speed train, that's pretty exciting. Like, they've been talking about that for
30 years?
Well, I was going to go 7 or 8 years, maybe 10 years, right? They've been talking about trying to get some way from Las Vegas to LA downtown that would be
They've been working on this
fast.
a long time because I've been hired to shoot video of different things going back several years.
really. Well, they're started, like where I live in Vegas, which is way out in the southwest. I take the freeway there, and it's going to run right down the middle of the freeway, right down the middle of the 15, and they've got that blocked off now. They're redoing center stuff and putting paving in and doing what they need to do to get that going. So I do know maybe late last year it was funded. I don't know what that means. Somebody funded it. I don't know if it was a government or somebody, but it was funded, and now they've actually started construction. So that's kind of exciting.
It's all, I think it's all super exciting. Like, for example, they just closed the Tropicana,
Yeah,
which is iconic.
a couple of days ago.
Literally, what day is this? This is Friday. They closed it on Tuesday.
Yeah, if you were staying there over the weekend, you had to be out by noon on Tuesday, but the gaming floor shut down at like 3 a.m. on Monday. Well, would be Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the Trop's been here my entire life, your entire life as well.
Well, it's
right?
been here since the 50s, so before
Yeah,
us.
before both of us. We actually looked that up to see when it was built, and it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
So it's one of the oldest ones out there.
It is. It is. I think there's only 2 more hotels that are in that time frame. It's the Sahara, and I'm pretty sure the Flamingo is one of the oldest ones here on the Strip.
Yeah, I mean, the Flamingos were all the mobsters were, so it's
Yeah.
definitely been here that long, right? So yeah, Trop's coming down. MGM's going to put a new hotel there,
And
incorporated with the baseball stadium.
yeah,
Right, and this time it's the A's are coming. They're supposed to be here in 2028. They'll be playing baseball in Sacramento in the River Cat Stadium. That's the AAA for somebody. I don't know who their AAA is there, but they'll play there in 25, 26, and 27, and then they'll start here in 2028. So that's exciting. As you know, I'm a bit of a baseball fan, so that's super exciting to have an MLB team here.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And then the talk is just a little bit further down the road from that stadium will be the basketball stadium.
Yeah, and I'll bet you the basketball's here before the A's get here.
That could be a safe bet because the A's are 4 or 5 years off.
Yeah, they're 4 years out still. So I think we might see basketball here before then. But as we've talked on here multiple times, the professional sports arena is exploding in Las Vegas. Of course, it all started with the Knights
Right.
and with the Aces. Aces have won back-to-back championships. That's really kind of blown up the women's basketball NBA or WNBA world. And that's gaining a lot of momentum here. People are going
That's
to a lot of
good.
those games. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of other types, lacrosse and indoor soccer and indoor football and a lot of those other, what I would think are smaller sports that are in bigger cities because they can draw enough people. We're starting to see that.
Yeah, well, we're starting to become a bigger city.
Yeah.
I mean, we're, 3 million now?
I don't know the number.
I
It's a
think
good and a bad thing.
it's a it's a good and a bad thing. The traffic, not because there's so many more cars. We have traffic problems because of keeping up with the building of things.
Yeah.
And then they have to take a road from 3 lanes to 1 lane just to get around something, and then a little while later it'll be 3 lanes again.
No, not a little while later. It's 2 years down the road. Like when they start putting cones up somewhere, those cones are going to be there for 2 years.
Well, we all know the running joke that's the Nevada's.
State bird.
Yeah.
Yep. The orange cone on the side of the road. Yeah. But it's growth, right? It was like the F1. We talked quite a bit about F1 and how it really made the locals kind of mad. And we said this. We said that once it was over, it would be okay. And it seems like it's okay
And it
now.
was. And then we moved right into the Super Bowl, which seemed seamless compared to F1.
Well, and was the
But it was only 1 day as opposed to.
well, it was a week long,
Well, true.
and I'm hearing that it was the most successful Super Bowl ever. Attendance-wise, TV, like everybody is saying, the ratings were just much higher
Well, that's good.
than they've ever had. And so, the running joke is that they should hold the Super Bowl in Dallas every year, because then neither team would have a home field advantage, right? So I think you're going to see that change to Las Vegas. So, the Raiders have a tough time getting there. So we might start seeing that joke go, but that's okay. So sports is great, growth is good.
Let me ask you a question.
All right.
Over under, we going to get Olympics?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. 100%. I don't know where they're already out to, but yeah, 100%. We're going to get an Olympics here.
I've thought about it, and I think you're right. I'm just trying to figure out in my head, if it's a Winter Olympics, where would the alpine stuff be? If it's a Summer Olympics, how do they do the outside running and biking and all that in the heat?
Yeah, that's part of being in the Olympics. You have to adjust to your.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, what you're going to see is, so when people are training for different events, they train based on the environment they're going to be in. So I believe that it'll be a Summer Olympics. I don't think we can get winter. I don't know that we have enough. Well, we're surrounded by mountains, but I don't know that we get enough snow and on enough of those mountains. I don't know
that I'm pretty sure that our mountains are not big enough for an alpine event. It would have to be way up in Tahoe, which is really kind of a long ways away.
Yeah, Tahoe's was that like about a 7-hour drive and a 2-hour flight, and it's a long. It wouldn't, if that was the case, they would be in Tahoe. They wouldn't be in Vegas. But no, I think we're going to get a Summer Olympics. That's my thought. And we're starting to see like all of the World Cup comes here right now because they've got Allegiant Stadium, and so all of those big events that kind of lean towards, I think we're going to get it. It's going to be great.
So with all of everything we just said, what do you think that does for all the different eyes around the world that are looking at Las Vegas? Think it's attracting people?
Yeah, I think you're starting to see some of the big hitters come in and buy houses that they're just going to be using during these big event times. You know, it's always kind of been a thing. You know, they come and use them doing New Year's Eve, and they come and use them during the Thanksgiving holidays and throughout the summer to go to down on the Strip and go to the pools and those kinds of things. But it's much bigger than that now. There's going to be a lot of events here. I mean, over 3-month period we had. F1, Super Bowl, March Madness is happening now, and every one of those weekends, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger as they get further into the tournament. So, yeah, I think you're going to start seeing people buy bigger luxury, high-rise type. I think that's what we're really going to see that we haven't seen much of yet, is the luxury high-rise market is really going to take off. I think you're going to see people.
Well, that would be interesting. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a lot of luxury high-rises.
And they're good, but they just aren't as in demand as maybe single-family homes are. But I think, that's what I mean. I think over the next 10 years, 5 years, you're really going to see.
Well, I think we're starting to see some of it in Henderson now. They're starting to build in that direction over in Dragon Ridge.
Yeah,
specific?
Yeah, Dragon Ridge. They're building. What is that called?
If you're talking about the high-rise for the condos, they're building that. Plus, they're just building, I was over shooting pictures of some of the homes there, just single-family homes at, 3.5 million, 5,000 square feet.
Big square footage, yeah, lots of money. Yeah, luxury, right? We're really going to see the luxury market in Vegas get a real good head start here. Like, there's been some nice luxury places in town, but you're just going to start seeing a lot more of that, I think, which I think is great. Good for the town, good for the people.
Do you think that affects Pahrump? Or how does it affect Pahrump?
All right, so yeah, it's a good question, right? Does it affect Pahrump? What I think what your question is will we see people moving to Pahrump to get out of the big city feel because it's not so far away from Vegas that you can't still enjoy Vegas, but it's far enough away that you can live in a small town environment.
And get and not be in the traffic, and yes.
Yeah, I mean that's the real draw for Pahrump for a lot of people.
Pahrump reminds me of Las Vegas in the 70s.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I know you do, but no, I'm just kidding. But so let's talk about that. Like we have somebody we were talking to that wanted to live in Pahrump or bought a home in Pahrump. We believe it was sight unseen.
So
and now they don't like it.
Right. I was talking with her, trying to help her out of what she says is her problem. And I believe that she bought the home without going out there and looking at it first.
She's coming from California, right? Which is our
Orange County.
It's our biggest influx of people is from Orange County, LA area.
She came out here last weekend and she said that she felt she was too far away from Las Vegas. She wasn't happy with the home, and she's talking to us about selling it because it's not what she wants.
Well, I mean, she doesn't like it so much that she didn't even stay there. She stayed in a hotel.
Right.
Yeah, so like she just wouldn't even stay in the house. So I think there's a lot more going on there, but I think you'll get both. I think you'll get people that have that scenario, like they want to be closer to Vegas, and it's a 45-minute drive. If you're
Prump is spread out, okay, and the first part of Prump is about 45 minutes from Vegas, and if you keep driving through Prump, as you get about maybe an hour and 15 minutes away from Vegas.
So it's about a 30-minute one end to the other end. So it's a little spread out. It also depends on where in Las Vegas you are.
Well, that now too, because now that Las Vegas has expanded so much, if you go way to the northeast corner.
Well, if you go, you're 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get through Vegas to go on the 160.
Now you're talking like a person that's lived in Vegas forever, but.
Well, yeah, no.
It's not the 15-minute drive.
It's 45. No, it's 45 minutes from the northwest to the southwest, where you can get on the 160 to go to Pahrump, right?
45 for me, 35 for you.
No, I'm okay, but still, then you still have 45 minutes. So you're an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. So it has its place. I think Pahrump will continue to grow.
I think so.
I think Pahrump will continue to get nicer homes, and if I'm being honest, lived here my whole life, right? It's just almost. I mean, you've lived here my whole life too, almost. You've lived other places, right?
But I've been here long enough to be. I moved here in 1974.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been here long enough to kind of know what's going on there. And back when I was a kid, you were going to Pahrump. It was an odd thing, right?
It was a long drive.
Yeah, but I think nowadays you're going to Pahrump. There's lots to do. There's some stuff to do out there, there's a lot of people that live out there.
There is, and there is a lot to do out there. I mean, they have the racetrack. We really haven't mentioned the fact that is also another way to get into Death Valley.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, you can go the back way, the 160, and go across the Death Valley that way.
Yeah.
I don't see the allure to Death Valley. It's way too hot out there for me, but to each his own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to each his own. I saw a very interesting statistic the other day. I don't know how it pertains to Pahrump, but Channel 8 here in Vegas, which is one of our news channels, was reporting that, talking about growth, we as a valley we grew by about 16% last year. That was what their statistic was. But our housing growth was under 10%. So because I'm a real estate agent, I look at that from a real estate growth perspective, right? I mean, I know a lot of people look at it.
Kind of mimicking everything in the country? Is it all construction, or isn't everybody kind of, their inventory is small?
Yeah, I mean, inventory across the country. Midwest, it never really fluctuates a ton in the Midwest. It's really consistent, but East Coast, West Coast, I think you do see some inventory fluctuations depending on time of year and all that kind of stuff. But think about that for just a minute. I mean, if the valley grew by 16% last year in the number of people, but housing only grew by, let's say, 10%, it was less than that, but
so then where are people living?
We're deficient on housing, right? I mean, so what does that mean for housing? That means people are going to go to Pahrump because there's some housing out there, and it's affordable housing. Our median sales price in Vegas now is, just above $450, and interest rates are 7%-ish. Of course, those change daily, but that's a pretty decent payment. That's $3,000, $3,200 a month. You got to pay to have a house at the average price. So I think that's also what drives people to Pahrump. But what I'm curious about is what are we going to do to increase housing growth to get even close to what our a growth of the actual residents is? It's going to be a challenge moving forward for a long time.
Well, and now you're basically talking about new construction. They're kind of behind the 8 ball on getting stuff done.
Yeah, well, they have been behind the 8 ball since the big crash of 07, 08. New home builders kind of quit building there for a couple of years, didn't really start building again strongly until maybe 2012. And so, yeah, they were well behind. I mean, I think the number was somewhere around 2 million homes in the country behind the growth. And yeah, it's very difficult to catch up 2 million. But specifically hyper to Vegas, I mean, we need to figure out how to get some more housing, not only housing, but affordable housing. The luxury stuff is great, but the reality is we need some affordable housing as well here.
Because more people are in that boat than the luxury boat.
Yeah, absolutely. More of the, what do you call them, the workers?
Middle class?
Middle class, black collar? No, white collar. What do they call that?
No, blue collar.
Blue collar. I knew it was a color. Anyway. Yeah, so we have the same, we have the continuing the same problem, and I just have to say this out loud. I'm sick and tired of hearing people tell me they're waiting for the housing market to crash so that they can buy a house.
Yeah, that's
Look,
not happening.
if we grew by 16%, and we're only building 10% worth, where's the crash coming? Like, are we suddenly going to have 20% of the people in the valley move out? So there's overabundance of how? No, I mean, come on, people. Let's get real here, all right? There's not going to be a housing crash, right? Do we see the market fluctuate up and down? Yeah. This last time, it was due to interest rates skyrocketing by 3 times, not 3 times, more than double what they were, right? Slowed the market down. But hey, people are still buying. People are still selling.
And actually, they seem to be a little bit more now. People are kind of getting used to the fact that we're not at 3%. We'll never be back at 3%.
It's the new norm, right? Yeah. I mean, I think if your goal was to buy a house, you should buy a house now, and hope that you can get a refi done at 6% or 5.5% at some point. But yeah, you're waiting for something that can't happen. I mean, it just numerically can't happen. I don't know. I'm a big numbers person anyway, but I believe that most everything in the world can be equated through the numbers, figured out through the numbers.
Absolutely.
And a housing crash?
No.
No. They thought at 7% interest, the market was going to go dead, right? And not even to talk about the NAR settlement that we haven't talked about. I don't even know if we should talk about, but that was the next hype that said, oh, the real estate market's going to crash because of NAR settlement. And we don't need to talk about that. That's complicated stuff, but
yeah, that's a whole separate video.
It's not going to affect real estate in the sense that
it's not going to affect prices of homes.
No, people are going to buy and sell.
Right.
Period. They have to. They have to. So, all right. What else is going on? Anything good?
No.
You're helping your niece buy a house?
So yes, I do have my niece in escrow at the moment. This is going to be her first home. She is super excited. She's been renting 14 years.
Wow. She finally decided the market wasn't going to crash.
Right.
And she should just go
And
buy
actually,
a house.
that's pretty interesting that after 14 years, she decided to jump into the market at this time.
Yeah, at maybe one of the hardest times because of the interest rate. But at the same time, here's what I thought was interesting. Like, we called up the lender the other day and said, hey, did you lock the rate?
Right, because
like,
it was a good rate
at?
that day.
What's going on? And he's like, yeah, we locked the rate. And we're like, okay, cool. What'd she get? What'd she get? We're trying to figure, did she get a good rate? And she actually locked at a higher rate than the going rate that day for some particular reasons that the lender helped her, agreed with her that she should do. And so it is interesting, even in a market where the interest rate's not great, people are still locking at even higher interest rates.
But you left the best part of the story out, what he said, why she did that, what her thinking was.
She's going to refi it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's
This is
100% going to refi it.
first-time buyer who knows nothing about real estate, but yet understood that.
Yeah, she's a smart lady though, so.
School teacher.
Yeah, good. Oh, that's right, school teacher, teaching our kids. Yeah, so she needs to be smart. And she is smart, she's smart, so. Yeah, so, business as usual, things are happening, buying and selling. I mean, Anthony and our teams, some buyers from Dayton, Nevada. You ever heard of it?
Yes.
You
I
been
don't
there?
know where it is.
Okay.
It's up north,
It's
right?
up north. Yeah, it's up north somewhere. I don't know either, but they sold their house up in Dayton. They've moved to Vegas, and they come in and bought a house, and crazy. It's 7.25% interest rate, but they came down and bought a house. So
They got a nice house too. I was in it the other day.
Oh, you were? What'd you go there for?
I had to meet there because Anthony
Oh,
couldn't.
that's right. That's right. The inspector was going, and Anthony was.
Yeah.
Somebody had him tied to a fence post or something. He couldn't go. I
Right.
don't know. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll just say the same thing. I think the market's everybody. If you need to buy or you need to sell, and I said need, right? If you want to sell, In fact, I'm in the middle of a negotiation right now for a client of mine, not first-time home buyer. This would be their second home. And the seller, literally their attitude is that they don't need to sell, but they would if they could get the right price. And I understand that that's their approach, but it's the wrong approach to real estate. Like, you should be buying or selling if you need to. This if I want to thing makes it even harder for everyone to do a deal.
It does, because your motivation there is none.
No, none. Yeah, I mean, we submitted what I thought was a pretty strong offer. And I've only been doing this for a few months, but still, I thought it was a very strong offer for a property that's been sitting on the market for a while. It had already had one price reduction. We didn't go below list, by the way. We were actually above list. And they sent us a counter back 3 days later when, after it had expired and we've already looked at 14 more homes. Oh, yeah, give us your highest and best offer. And I'm just like, what did you think what we sent over was? It's above your list. It's above your asking price. So, yeah, it's frustrating when you run across buyers that don't really need to sell. Because we have buyers that need to buy.
Right.
Like, they don't want to rent anymore.
Right.
They want to move out of mom's house.
And renting is not going to be easy. Rent prices are not going to go down.
No, they're not going down, and it's harder to get in.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more and more renters having to pay double and triple security deposits just to get into a property. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I mean, they have low inventory also.
Yeah, again, 16% growth in people and 10% growth in housing. So, yeah, I don't care what part of housing you're trying to get into. It's a shortage. There's just not enough of it around. So, all right, cool. Reach out. If anybody needs anything, we're happy to help. We're doing this full time every day. Happy to get you guys into finding something you love and that makes sense for you.
Yep.
All right. Talk to y'all later. We're going to try to do this a little more often now, so
we're back in business now that we have the podcast studio built.
Exactly. Now that we have a place to do this.
What?
Wash your camera as you were saying goodbye.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a hard out.
All right.